The lead Krell warrior staggered backward, surprised by Captain June's attack. The alien's yellow eyes narrowed in confusion. How could something so small move so fast? "Kill them all!" the Krell leader shouted to his warriors. More Krell soldiers poured into the council chamber. The alien diplomats scattered, seeking shelter behind furniture or rushing toward emergency exits. Only the humans stood their ground. Lieutenant Sue Park pulled out her standard-issue energy pistol. It was small, compared to the Krell weapons, but she handled it with practiced ease. "Captain, there are at least 12 Krell warriors entering the chamber," she reported calmly. Sergeant Han Tae moved to protect Dr. Jin Song. "Stay behind me, Doctor." Jin nodded. As a scientist, he wasn't trained for combat, but he showed no fear. "Their armor appears thickest on the chest and back. Look for joints and neck areas." Captain June assessed the situation quickly. The humans were outnumbered and outgunned. The Krell had natural armor and superior strength. But June had seen this situation before, not with aliens but in Earth's military training. When facing a stronger enemy, use their strength against them. "Lieutenant Park, Sergeant Han, Pattern Delta," June called out. The humans immediately understood. They had trained together for years and knew dozens of combat patterns. Delta meant divide and isolate. The three humans split up, moving in different directions. This forced the Krell to divide their attention. The aliens were used to intimidating enemies with their size and strength. They weren't prepared for prey that fought back with strategy. Ambassador Drex of the Moltari had taken cover behind an overturned table. His massive frame couldn't hide completely. He watched with wide eyes as the small humans darted between the Krell warriors, moving like water around rocks. "Impossible," he muttered. Counselor Vala had retreated to a corner with several other diplomats. Her telepathic abilities let her sense emotions in the room. The Krell radiated anger and bloodlust. But the humans, their feelings were different. There was fear, yes, but it was controlled, channeled into something else. Determination, focus, even a strange excitement. Lieutenant Park found herself cornered by two Krell warriors. They approached slowly, confident in their victory. Her energy pistol had already proven barely effective against their thick hide. She needed something else. Park looked around quickly. Her eyes landed on an environmental control panel on the wall. She remembered Jin's briefing about the station. The council maintained different atmospheric sections for various species. As the Krell closed in, Park fired 3 precise shots at the panel. Immediately, vents in the ceiling opened, releasing a thick, heavy gas into that section of the room. The Krell warriors looked up in confusion. The gas was harmless but dense, designed for high-gravity species to breathe comfortably. In the suddenly thick atmosphere, the Krell's movements slowed. Their massive bodies, evolved for standard gravity conditions, became sluggish. Park, however, had grown up in Earth's gravity, higher than standard council settings. She moved through the dense gas with relative ease, outmaneuvering the struggling. "Krell? Humans?" she heard one Krell gurgle in frustration. "Too quick." Across the chamber, Sergeant Han faced his own challenge. A Krell warrior had him pinned behind a column, firing energy blasts that chipped away at his cover. Han couldn't advance or retreat without exposing himself. The Krell moved closer, sensing victory. It didn't see Han remove his metal belt buckle and polish it quickly against his uniform. When the Krell stepped out to take its final shot, Han held the makeshift mirror around the edge of the column, reflecting the bright emergency lights directly into the alien's sensitive eyes. The Krell shrieked, temporarily blinded. Han used this moment to spring forward, targeting the unarmored joint at the back of the Krell's knee. The alien crashed down and Han delivered a precise strike to a nerve cluster in its neck, a vulnerable point Dr. Jin had identified based on xenobiology data. Captain June, meanwhile, faced the Krell leader. This warrior was larger than the others with battle scars crossing its scaly face. It wielded an energy staff that crackled with power. "Your tricks won't save you, human," the Krell growled. "I am Vortak, commander of the Skullbreaker Legion. I have conquered worlds larger than yours. June didn't waste energy with a response. On Earth, predators often announced themselves with roars and displays. Prey animals did the same when cornered, but human hunters learned long ago to be silent, to save breath for the fight. Vortak charged, swinging his energy staff in a wide arc. June waited until the last possible second before dropping flat to the floor. The staff passed harmlessly above him. Before Vortak could recover, June rolled behind him, springing up to strike at the back of the alien's knees. The Krell commander stumbled but didn't fall. He spun around faster than June expected and caught the human with a backhand blow. June flew across the room, crashing into the council table. Pain shot through his body. He tasted blood. But June pushed himself up. Immediately. Earth creatures evolved falling damage resistance after millions of years in trees. Humans could take hits that would cripple many species. From his hiding place, Ambassador Drex watched in amazement. "He should be broken," he whispered. "How? Is he still moving?" Counselor Vala, sensing June's pain through her telepathic abilities, was equally shocked. "Their species has remarkable damage tolerance," she said, "and their nervous system, it's producing chemicals to block the pain." Across the chamber, Dr. Jin had not remained passive. While the others fought, he studied the station's control interfaces. The Council used standardized systems, and Jin had studied alien technology extensively before the mission. He accessed emergency protocols, triggering lockdowns in sections of the station already secured by Krell forces. This trapped many invaders, preventing them from joining the battle in the Council chamber. Through station sensors, Jin discovered something important. "Captain," he called out. "The Krell ship is docking on level 3. They're bringing in more troops." Lieutenant Park heard this as she disabled her second Krell opponent. "I can reach level 3 through the maintenance tunnels," she called back. "If I can seal the airlock, we can cut off their reinforcements." "Too dangerous alone," June replied, dodging another attack from Vortak. "I'll go with her," Sergeant Han said, finishing his opponent with a strike to the throat. June nodded. "Go, Dr. Jin, find Counselor Vala and the others. Get them to the secure room we passed earlier." The humans moved with decisive speed. Park and Han slipped out a side entrance while Jin gathered the cowering diplomatic staff. Left alone with Vortak and 2 remaining Krell warriors, Captain June felt a familiar sensation washing over him. Earth scientists called it hyperfocus, a state where human minds processed information at accelerated rates where time seemed to slow. "You fight well for prey," Vortak growled, circling June cautiously now. "But you're alone, human. Your companions have fled." June allowed himself a small smile. "They haven't fled. They're completing their objectives." The Krell commander frowned. "Objectives? You planned this?" "Humans always have a plan," June said. "And a backup plan, and sometimes a backup for the backup." For the first time, uncertainty flickered in Vortak's yellow eyes. This small creature wasn't behaving like prey should. It wasn't panicking or begging for mercy. Instead, it was acting with purpose, with confidence. The Krell warriors looked to their commander, waiting for orders. In that moment of hesitation, June saw his opening. The fight was far from over, but something had changed. The aliens were beginning to understand that they had severely underestimated these humans. Captain June Kim stood at the viewing deck of the Earth Space Force vessel Dauntless. The massive space station of the Galactic Council hung before them, its ring-shaped structure glittering with thousands of lights. After decades of searching, the stars, humans had finally made contact with alien life. Not just one species, but dozens that formed an alliance spanning half the galaxy. "Captain, we're receiving docking instructions," said Lieutenant Sue Park from her station. Her fingers moved quickly over the control panel. "Acknowledged," June replied. He took a deep breath. This moment would change human history forever. The Dauntless was not Earth's most advanced ship. It was small, barely 300 meters long, but it was the best choice for humanity's first diplomatic mission. Fast, reliable, and equipped with Earth's finest crew. "All personnel prepare for docking," June announced over the ship's speakers. "Remember, we represent all of humanity today." The ship slid smoothly into the docking bay. Through the viewports, June could see figures waiting for them. Tall, short, some with many limbs, others floating in the air. The aliens had come to bow, greet the newcomers. Dr. Jin Song, the mission's lead scientist, joined June at the airlock. "Ready, Captain?" "As ready as anyone can be to meet aliens," June smiled. "Let's make a good impression." The airlock hissed open. The air from the station smelled clean but strange. A delegation of 5 aliens stood before them. At the center was a tall, blue-skinned being with 4 arms and eyes that glowed like stars. "Welcome, humans, to the Galactic Council Station," the blue being said in perfect English. "I am Counselor Vala of the Eridani. We have been monitoring your transmissions and learning your languages." June stepped forward and bowed slightly. "On behalf of Earth and all humanity, we thank you for your welcome. I am Captain June Kim." Thu, tallest alien, nearly 3 meters high with red rock-like skin, laughed. The sound was like stones grinding together. "These humans are smaller than I expected," he rumbled. "Like children. How did such tiny creatures build spaceships?" "Ambassador, Drex of the Multari," Vala introduced with a hint of disapproval. "Not all species measure worth by size." June kept his face neutral. He was used to this. At 175 centimeters, he was average for a human male. But here, among these giants, he felt like a child at an adult's table. "Size can be deceiving," June said politely. "Humans have overcome many challenges." A third alien stepped forward. This one looked like a walking crystal with light reflecting through its body in rainbow patterns. "I am Ix of the Vex," it said, voice sounding like wind chimes. "We are most interested in your biology. Our scans show unusual readings." Dr. Jin Song nodded respectfully. "We look forward to sharing scientific knowledge." The human delegation followed the aliens into the station. The corridors were vast, designed to accommodate species of all sizes. They passed beings that floated in air, slithered on many legs, or moved in ways that defied Earth physics. They reached a large circular room with a dome ceiling showing the stars outside. Representatives from at least 20 different species sat around a massive table. "The council chamber," Vala explained. "Here, all voices are equal. Today we hear Earth's voice for the first time." As they took their seats, June noticed something strange. Despite the many different body types, most aliens moved slowly and deliberately. Even the smallest ones lacked the quick, sudden movements humans made without thinking. Ambassador Drex of the Multari sat across from them, his massive frame making the chair look like a toy. "Tell us, little humans," Drex said, leaning forward. "Your planet has many predator species, yes? Yet you have no claws, no fangs, no natural armor. How did you become the dominant species?" Before June could answer, Lieutenant Park whispered in his ear. "Sir, I'm receiving strange energy readings. Something's happening outside the station." June was about to respond when alarms blared throughout the chamber. Red lights flashed along the walls. "We are under attack," a voice announced over speakers. "All representatives to secure locations. This is not a drill." The chamber erupted in chaos. Many alien representatives froze in place. Others made high-pitched sounds of distress. Some huddled together or hid under the table. "Who would attack the council?" Jin asked, remaining calm despite the alarms. Vala's glowing eyes dimmed with fear. "The Krell. They raid border worlds, take resources and slaves. They have never been bold enough to attack the council directly." Through the dome ceiling, June saw dark ships surrounding the station. They were shaped like arrowheads, black and threatening. "How many security forces do you have on the station?" June asked. "Not enough," Vala admitted. "The council has existed in peace for centuries. We maintain only a small security team." A massive explosion shook the station. The lights flickered. "They've breached the outer hull," Vala said, voice trembling. "The Krell will be inside within minutes." June looked at his team. They had trained for combat situations, even if this was supposed to be a diplomatic mission. He saw determination in their eyes. "Lieutenant Park, contact the Dauntless. Tell them to prepare defensive measures," June ordered. "Sergeant Han, Distribute weapons to our security team. You intend to fight? Drex asked, sounding surprised. The Krell are fierce warriors twice your size with natural armor. They will crush you. June's face hardened. We won't sit and wait to be captured. Another explosion rocked the station. The doors to the chamber burst open. 3 massive figures stormed in, each over 2 meters tall with gray, scaly skin and natural armor plates. Their eyes were yellow with vertical pupils. They carried energy weapons and moved with predatory grace. Krell warriors, Vala whispered, in horror. The lead Krell scanned the room and laughed, showing rows of sharp teeth. The mighty council cowering like prey. You will all serve the Krell Empire now. The room fell silent. The council representatives remained frozen in fear. Then a single figure stepped forward. Captain June Kim walked calmly toward the Krell, stopping 10 meters away. He stood straight, shoulders back, chin up. Next to the towering alien, he looked tiny, fragile. This station is under the protection of Earth, June said, voice clear and strong. I suggest you leave peacefully. The Krell stared for a moment, then made a sound like rocks in a grinder. Laughter. Earth? We have not heard of this world. What gives a tiny creature like you the right to challenge the Krell? June didn't flinch. I am giving you one chance to withdraw. The lead Krell raised his weapon. Your bones will make fine trophies, little human. In that moment, something happened that would become legendary in council records. Captain June Kim moved. To the watching aliens, it was a blur. Where humans came from, where life was competitive and dangerous, speed meant survival. The council species, evolving in less threatening environments, had never developed such reflexes. June ducked under the energy blast, closed the distance to the first Krell, and struck with precision at vulnerable points on the alien's body. The human seemed to anticipate the Krell's movements before they happened. Behind him, the human security team engaged the other Krell warriors. Lieutenant Park moved with similar speed, while Sergeant Han showed strength surprising for his size. The council representatives watched in shock as the small humans fought with intelligence and coordination that overcame their physical disadvantages. The battle had just begun. Nobody knew it yet, but the galaxy was about to learn why, pound for pound, humans were the deadliest species in the galaxy. Captain Hyun stood tall at the back of the great meeting hall. The room was filled with aliens from all over the galaxy. They had gathered to discuss the Vraxian War. Hyun tried not to show any emotion as the large insect-like aliens laughed at her people. Humans, said Admiral Teak, the Vraxian leader. His 8 eyes blinked in a pattern that showed he thought this was funny. You have only been in space for 50 years. Your ships are slow. Your weapons are weak, and your snipers are a joke. Hyun felt her face get hot. She had been a sniper before becoming a captain. She knew how good Earth snipers were, but the aliens didn't care. They had fancy shields and big guns. They thought human ways of fighting were old and useless. A true warrior, Teak went on, his voice making a clicking sound, faces the enemy up close. Your snipers hide far away. They are cowards. Next to Hyun, Major Sunwoo shifted in his chair. Sunwoo was Earth's best war planner. His job was to find a way to stop the Vraxians. They had already taken over 7 star systems. Earth's colonies were next. Perhaps, Sunwoo said in a calm voice, but every race fights in its own way. Humans have skills that may surprise you. Admiral Teak made a sound like rocks being crushed. It was how Vraxians laughed. The patches on his throat glowed bright blue. Surprise? Your bullets cannot get through our shields. Your snipers are useless against our big ships. What can you do that would surprise us? The other aliens in the room joined in the laughter. Hyun looked around. The blue Malorians, the tall, thin Tasks, and the floating Quarrel, all of them thought humans were weak. They only let Earth join their group because they needed all the help they could get against the Vraxians. When the meeting ended, Hyun walked over to Commander Yoon. Yoon was in charge of training Earth's best snipers. Her eyes were sharp and her hands were steady. They think we're a joke, Yoon said softly. Yoon nodded. She watched the aliens leave the room. Let them think that. It will make our job easier. Hyun and Yoon left the grand hall and walked down a long hallway. The walls were made of a strange metal that changed color as they passed. The alien space station was huge and full of wonders. But right now, Hyun didn't care about that. She was worried about Earth. The Vraxians will reach New Busan Colony. In 2 weeks, she said. They have 40 battle cruisers. Each one has enough firepower to destroy a city. What can our snipers do against that? Yoon stopped walking. She looked at Hyun with a small smile on her face. Do you know why snipers have always been important in human wars? She asked. Hyun shook her head. Because one person in the right place, at the right time, can change everything. Yoon's voice was quiet, but strong. The Vraxians think they are safe inside their ships. They think their shields will protect them, but they have never faced human snipers before. They stepped onto a moving platform that took them to the Earth section of the station. Here the air smelled more like home. Human soldiers walked around getting ready for war. Captain Hyun! A young man ran up to them. It was Lieutenant Kang, Hyun's communication officer. His face was red from running. We just got news from Earth Command. The Vraxians have changed course. They're heading straight for Moon Base Alpha. They'll be there in 3 days. Hyun felt her heart beat faster. Moon Base Alpha was Earth's main defense post. If it fell, Earth would be open to attack. We need to get back to our ship, Hyun said. Now. As they hurried to the docking bay, they passed a group of Vraxian officers. The aliens were tall, with hard shell-like skin and multiple limbs. They looked down at the humans with their many eyes. Look, one of them said in the common space language. The little Earth monkeys are in a rush. Perhaps they are running away already. The other Vraxians made their crushing rock laughing sound. Hyun kept walking, but Yoon stopped. Enjoy your laugh, she said to the aliens. It will be your last. The aliens seemed surprised that a human would talk back. One of them stepped forward, towering over Yoon. Your species will be gone in a month, he said. Your colonies will burn. Your Earth will be ours. What can you possibly do to stop us? Yoon looked up at the alien without fear. We have faced bullies before. Throughout human history, big armies with better weapons have looked down on us. And yet, we are still here. She turned and walked away, catching up with Hyun and Kang. The Vraxians didn't follow. They just watched with their many eyes. On the ship, Hyun called a meeting with her officers. The main room was filled with screens showing maps of the moon, base in the Vraxian fleet. The Confederacy forces won't reach us in time, Sunwoo said, pointing at the maps. We're on our own for at least 5 days. What about our ships? Hyun asked. Kang shook his head. We have 12 cruisers at Moon Base, but they're no match for the Vraxian fleet. The room was quiet. Everyone knew what this meant. If Moon Base fell, Earth would be next. Billions of people would die. Then Yoon spoke up. We don't need to destroy their fleet. We just need to stop it. Everyone turned to look at her. How? Sunwoo asked. Their shields can take direct hits from our biggest weapons. Yoon pulled up an image of the lead Vraxian ship. It was huge, shaped like a pointed star. This is Admiral Teek's command ship, she said. The Vraxians follow a strict chain of command. Everything goes through Teek. He makes all the big decisions. So? Kang asked. He's inside the biggest, most protected ship in their fleet. Yoon zoomed in on one part of the ship. Every shield has a weak point. Every system has to reset sometimes. For a few seconds, 3 times a day, the shields on this section of the ship go down for recalibration. Hyun understood immediately. You want to take out Teek during one of those moments. Yoon nodded. One shot. From a distance they think is impossible. Their entire command structure will fall apart without him. Sunwoo looked doubtful. The reset only lasts for 3 seconds. The ship will be moving. The distance is huge. No one could make that shot. A human sniper could, Yoon said. You know. One who has trained for this exact moment. Hyun looked at the faces around the table. Some looked hopeful, others doubtful. Then she made her decision. Start the selection process, she told Yoon. Find me the best sniper humanity has ever produced. We have 3 days to change the course of this war. As she left the room, Hyun thought about what she had seen in the eyes of the Vraxians. They were so sure of their victory. They thought they knew everything about humans. They were wrong. One shot would prove it. The Earthship Defender raced through space toward Moonbase Alpha. They only had 3 days before the Vraxian fleet arrived. Captain Hyun stood on the bridge watching the stars streak by. "How long until we reach the base?" she asked. "Lieutenant," Kang checked the ship's computer. 6 hours, Captain," Hyun nodded. "And Commander Yoon?" "She's already sent out the call. 20 of Earth's best snipers will meet us there." Hyun turned to Major Sunwoo, who was studying maps of the moon base and the space around it. "Have you found a good position yet?" Sunwoo pointed to a small dot on the map. "This is Outpost 7. It's a small base on an asteroid near where the Vraxian fleet will pass. From there, a sniper would have a clear line to Admiral Teak's ship when it drops its shields for recalibration." "How far?" Hyun asked. 15,000 kilometers. The bridge went quiet. Everyone stared at Sunwoo. "That's impossible," Kang said. "No one can shoot that far." Sunwoo looked up. "With normal guns, no. But we have something new." He pulled up an image of a long, sleek rifle. It didn't look much different from old sniper rifles from Earth's past. But it was made of a dark metal that seemed to drink in the light. "This is the XR-7, Sunwoo said. "It's new, top secret. It can fire a special bullet that keeps going in space without slowing down. But 15,000 kilometers? Kang still looked doubtful. "The bullet has a tiny engine," Sunwoo explained, "and a guidance system. But it still needs a perfect shot to start. That's why we need the best sniper we have." 6 hours later, the Defender docked at Moonbase Alpha. The base was huge, built into the side of a crater. It was Earth's main defense post in space, with big guns pointing out at the stars. Commander Yoon met them at the dock. She didn't waste time with greetings. "The snipers are already here," she said. "We've set up a test range." They walked through the busy base. Soldiers were running around, getting ready for the coming battle. Everyone knew the Vraxians were coming. No one knew if they could be stopped. The test range was at the far end of the base. It was a large room with a clear dome that looked out into space. 20 men and women in military uniforms stood at attention as Hyun and Yoon entered. "At ease," Yoon said. The snipers relaxed a little, but their faces were still serious. "You all know why you're here. The Vraxian fleet is coming. We have a plan to stop them, but it needs one perfect shot." She explained the mission. One sniper would go to Outpost 7. They would wait for the exact moment when Admiral Teak's ship dropped its shields. Then they would take the shot. If they hit Teak, the Vraxian attack might stop. "This will be the hardest shot any human has ever taken," Yoon said. "Most of you will fail our tests. That's okay. We only need one who can do it." The tests began right away. The first test was simple. The snipers had to hit targets at different distances. Each round, the worst 3 shooters were sent home. After 2 hours, only 10 snipers remained. They moved to the next test. "This one is harder," Yoon told them. "You'll shoot at moving targets, and we'll shake your platform so it's hard to stay steady." This test was brutal. Some of the best snipers in the world missed easy shots because the platform moved at the wrong moment. After another hour, only 5 remained. Sergeant Tae was one of them. He was tall and confident with steady hands. Next to him was Lieutenant Ji, a calm woman with sharp eyes. Then there was Master Sergeant Doyen, a quiet woman who said almost nothing, but hit every target perfectly. The other 2 were Corporal Wung, a young sniper with quick reflexes, and Major Hai, an older man with years of experience. "The final test," Yoon announced. "You'll shoot at a target on a small ship moving in space. The target is only 10 centimeters wide. You have 1 shot." One by one, they took their positions at the dome. They looked through their scopes at the small ship moving in the darkness of space. Corporal Wung went first. He took his time following the ship with his scope. Then he fired. Miss. The bullet went just over the target. Wung stepped back, his face red with shame. Major Hay was next. His shot was better, hitting the edge of the target, but it wasn't a clean hit. Lieutenant G took her shot quickly, as if she was afraid to think too much. Her bullet hit the target, but not in the center. Sergeant Tay spent a long time setting up his shot. He measured the distance, the speed of the target, even the tiny pull of the moon's gravity. His shot was perfect, hitting the dead center of the target. He smiled and stepped back, sure he had won. Last was Master Sergeant Doyen. She was small, with short black hair and quiet eyes. She didn't talk much. Some of the other snipers made fun of her because she was so quiet, but when she took her position at the dome, something changed. She became completely still. It was like she wasn't even breathing. She looked through her scope for only a few seconds. Then she fired. Her bullet not only hit the center of the target, it went through the exact same hole that Tay's bullet had made. Everyone stared in shock. "That's impossible," Tay said. "The ship is moving. It can't be in the same place." "She didn't aim where the target was," Yoon said quietly. "She aimed where it would be when her bullet arrived." Doyen stepped back from the dome. She didn't smile or show any emotion. "We have 2 finalists," Yoon announced. "Sergeant Tay and Master Sergeant Doyen. The final test will be tomorrow." Later that night, Hyun found Yoon in her office looking at files on the 2 finalists. "Who do you think will win?" Hyun asked. Yoon showed her a video from the test. It showed Tai taking careful measurements before his shot. Then it showed Do-yoon, who simply looked and fired. "Tai is an excellent sniper," Yoon said. "He does everything by the book, perfect technique, but Do-yoon—" "What about her?" "She has something you can't teach. She doesn't just see the target, she feels it." Hyun looked at Do-yoon's file. She had grown up in a small town. She joined the army when she was 18. Her record was perfect. But there was nothing special about her background. "How did she get so good?" Hyun asked. "No one knows," Yoon said. "She doesn't talk about it, she doesn't talk much at all, but put a rifle in her hands and she becomes something else, something more than human." The next morning, the final test began. It was the hardest yet. Tae and Doyen would have to hit a target that was not only moving, but was partly hidden by a shield. They would have to time their shots to hit the target during the split second when the shield flickered. Tae went first. He took his time, watching the pattern of the shield. Then he fired. His shot was good. The bullet passed through the shield at the right moment and hit near the center of the target. Tae stepped back, smiling. "Beat that," he said to Doyen. Doyen said nothing. She took her position and looked through her scope. But instead of watching the shield pattern like Tai had done, she closed her eyes. "What is she doing?" Sun-woo whispered. "Feeling the shot," Yoon said. Doyen opened her eyes and fired in one smooth motion. Her bullet passed through the shield and hit the dead center of the target. It was a perfect shot. "Master Sergeant Doyen will take the shot," Yoon announced. Tae looked angry, but he nodded and stepped back. Rules were rules, and Doyen's shot was better. As the room cleared out, Hyun approached Doyen. The small woman was checking her rifle, her movements careful and precise. "Are you ready for this mission?" Hyun asked. "It will be much harder than any test." Doyen looked up. Her eyes were calm and sure. "Yes, Captain. I was born ready for this shot." "You'll be alone out there," Hyun warned. "If something goes wrong, we can't help you." "I understand." "How do you do it?" Hyun asked. "How do you make these impossible shots look easy?" Do-yoon was quiet for a moment. Then she said, "My grandfather told me a story when I was little. He said that in the old days, the best archers didn't aim with their eyes. They aimed with their hearts, they became one with the target." She touched her rifle gently. "I don't shoot at things, Captain. I connect with them." Hyun didn't quite understand, but she nodded. "We leave for Outpost 7 in 2 hours. Be ready." Hyun walked away. She heard Sun-woo talking to Yoon. "Do you really think she can make a shot at 15,000 kilometers?" he asked. "If any human can," Yoon replied. "It's her." The news spread across the galaxy with impossible speed. Admiral Teak, Supreme Commander of the Vraxian forces, had been assassinated by a single shot from a human sniper across an impossible distance. The Vraxian Empire, built on a strict hierarchy, and the perceived invincibility of its leadership, fell into immediate chaos. Without Teek's strategic brilliance, the invasion force fractured. Some captains retreated, others fought among themselves for command, and the unified front collapsed. At Confederacy headquarters, the alien representatives who had mocked Earth's military contributions were silent as Captain Hyun presented the mission report. One shot, she concluded, fired by Master Sergeant Doyen across 20,000 kilometers of space, through a shielding gap that existed for less than 3 seconds. The Arcturian ambassador, who had been particularly dismissive of human tactics, spoke first. Impossible. No species has ever achieved such precision. Yet here we are, Major Sunwoo replied calmly. Perhaps it's time to reconsider what humans bring to the Confederacy's defense. The aftermath transformed humanity's role in galactic politics. Earth's snipers became legendary, requested for special operations throughout Confederacy space. The mere rumor of a human marksman in a system was often enough to deter aggression. As for Master Sergeant Doyen, she returned to Earth quietly, declining medals and recognition. When asked later about the historic shot that changed the course of the war, she simply said, "I did what any of us would have done. I protected my home." In the decades that followed, the military academies of a dozen species added a new required text to their curriculum. The Doyen Principle, How Humanity Changed Modern Warfare. The central lesson was simple, but profound. Never underestimate a determined human with a clear shot. The Vraxian Empire eventually regrouped under new leadership and signed a peace treaty with the Confederacy. The terms included a special provision. No Vraxian ship was permitted within 50,000 kilometers of Earth or its colonies, twice the distance of Doyen's legendary shot. In the Great Hall of the Confederacy, where representatives of all member species gathered, Earth's delegation was no longer seated at the back. Their place was now among the founding members. Their counsel sought on matters of strategy and defense. And in military circles throughout the galaxy, a new phrase entered the lexicon, whispered with a mixture of awe and fear. One shot, one war, the human way.